So how about that Trump, eh?
I know, he's getting scary. It looks like he's going to be president.
It was, at first I thought, he's such a cartoon character. He's like a Tex Avery president. I thought, no way. There's no way you have to worry. And if he wins the Republican elections, then it's surely going to be either Clinton or what's his name?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. He seems like a really lovely guy, idealist, but at the same time, he seems a bit unrealistic at times as well.
I want him to win, because I'm not a big fan of Clinton. But the problem I feel with Bernie Sanders is the way America's kind of set up. I can't see he'd find it difficult to get stuff actually done.
Yeah,
Congress is famously kind of quite difficult to get policies through. Saying that, that's what kind of makes it good if Trump gets president. Because that's why I'm not like majorly worried about Trump being president. Because the thing is, he'd find it really difficult to get half the stuff he'd want to get done. I'm not even sure he's that serious about half the stuff he's saying. I think he's just saying it so he can get votes half the time.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, a part of me wants to see him get in just to see him frustrated with being president. But I think, he says stuff. I think he had this thing about Muslims entering the country, right? He said his solution, which, if you think about it, isn't really a solution. It just screams Trump. It was, let's keep them all out until we can figure out something to do with this situation. And that's his solution is, we'll figure something out later. Yeah. But we don't have an idea right now. You don't have an idea right now. That's like just lampshading it. You don't have an idea because you don't need an idea, do you, Trump? You're not going to do anything about it.
I've watched a few videos, like interviews with him, and some of them go back a few years, and there's some points that he makes I think actually are interesting, and I don't think he's necessarily wrong about everything, but then he can be, at other times he can be so completely kind of insane with what he says, and he just kind of...
Just disconnected.
Yeah, but that's I mean, America, the problem is, I think, in America is that it's like the president's always kind of like that kind of cult of personality thing.
It really is, and plus it's a land of extremes as well. So when someone shows up that stands out, it doesn't matter if it's a good thing or a bad thing, they stand out, and that's, like you said, becomes a personality in itself, and that's what America wants, really. Yeah.
The problem is, I can't see, like, Clinton being much of a better president.
No.
I mean, to be honest.
The only way they can combat him is to go the other way in terms of extremes. And I think Bernie Sanders is like, he's kind of trying to do that as well. I mean, I hope he's genuine, but at the same time, I just think, some of these things that are being said, the country is basically run by these CEOs and medical corporations and stuff. And if you speak out against them, it kind of... Yeah. So, I mean, it's good that you are, but you're shooting yourself in the foot as well. I mean... Yeah.
At the end of the day, you kind of got to play the game a little bit to get president, because...
Like, get back at them when you've got the power to,
Yeah. But he's the only one saying, like, the obvious things that, we've got a country where the 1% is ruling everything, really. And
it shows more clout that he does that before he has power, because he might just be another one of them trying to win votes by seeming sympathetic, but at the same time, like, even sympathetic or not, it does need to be said by someone.
Yeah. He's the only one, like, offering, like, healthcare and stuff like that.
That's true,
I mean, people are saying it's unrealistic, but, I don't know. I mean, some people did point out that America's a much bigger country than a lot of the countries that do have healthcare. It is kind of, you'd have to be providing for a lot more people than, like, some people going about, like, I think, is it Denmark? Denmark, in population, it's tiny compared to America, but I don't know.
Well, they're full of Vikings anyway who do know their own medicine, so, like, they break their leg, it's like, oh, no problem, we'll go raiding another day.
They're the ones that came in the big ships, didn't they?
The dragon boats,
Yeah, they're too busy murdering people each other, from what I understand these days.
These days, they pretty much like...
if the killing's anything to go by.
Did you know that they actually found early signs of a dragon boat that had landed in the Americas before Christopher Columbus?
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
The Vikings love to sail, man. they went all over the place.
Yeah, because I never believed Columbus was the first person to find America. I don't think you could miss it somehow.
Even so, like, he wasn't able to celebrate the success of it either. But it would be like someone, to embellish that story.
Yeah, because I actually found out why. Well, the reason why they believe Native Indians are called Indians is because Columbus thought he'd found India.
Yeah,
at the time.
and they didn't correct it either. They were like, "You guys are Indians, right?" Like,
yeah.
No, we're Native Americans. Yeah, but you're Indians. They don't correct it. They were just like, yeah, well, they are now, so because we call them that, so we'll stick with it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because there's a bit of a debate whether, because Tom's mentioned it, I think that some people think Native Indians a bit kind of like racist, but half of them like kind of do identify themselves as like Indians.
That's because it's just, come so long. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's a shame with them. There's so few of those people left now. It's like kind of like Aboriginals. There's just not that many left in the world, really.
Yeah, but
apparently Japan's becoming like that as well.
Yeah, it's just like it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah,
really? That's what happens in history. So,
but going from one devil, Donald, to another, and then again, it is the same New York tri-state area anyway, or New Jersey if you want. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the Jersey Devil of all things. Yeah.
Welcome to the Dorks Deduction Podcast, where we talk about stuff.
I've always liked this legend. It's kind of like a Jersey legend. Have you ever heard of some of the things that go on in New Jersey? It's kind of like an interesting, really interesting state. It's a state. Would you call it a state, I suppose? I'm not sure. But it has some really interesting legends, one of them being the Jersey Devil, along with the Gates of Hell and other things. And they're very urban as well.
Yeah.
But it's just such a weird creature concocted as a legend in this area. And the story itself is kind of weird as well. It's like a beast that came out of a woman when she gave birth. Because I can't remember why she gave birth to a demon. She had him out of wedlock or something?
No, what the story I read...
Oh, supposedly a witch, wasn't it?
No, the story I read was she was married to this guy who she'd had 12 children with.
Yes. Oh, it was the 13th one?
Yeah.
And she cursed it.
There's a bit of debate whether the child was the devil or the dad was the devil, or whether it was both, so the dad was the devil and... giving birth to the 13th child, he turned out to be a devil as well.
Lovely.
They kind of do, like, the 13's always meant to be, like, the unlucky number, isn't it? So there's a bit of kind of coincidence there, I noticed.
But when they say the 13th child was the unlucky one, it just sounds like some sort of teen fan fiction, doesn't it? It's like, the 13th child she had was the devil, because 13. But no, it's like, it's got a really weird layout to his body. I mean, I think it's got like the head of a horse, the body of a horse, or like the hoofs at least. It's got bat wings, like chicken legs, hoofs, and kind of like a goat head-ish.
Yeah, and I heard it's kind
with
of
horns.
Someone said it's got a bit of like a kangaroo-like almost kind of thing of it.
Kind of weird, really weird looking, but just something you'd find really weird to be flying through the sky,
Yeah, when I the first thing that I saw of it, it looked a bit like a Pokemon to me, actually. Like one of the dragon Pokemons.
I think you may have just made it unbelievably unterrifying now. Yeah, it does look a bit like that, like one of the weird ones, of course. But it also has it's used as a logo for the hockey team, the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah,
it's quite cool, and they have like a little cartoon version of it as well. It's quite fun. But the actual origin of the story is it has a blood-curdling scream. It hangs out in the woods near New Jersey, and there's supposed to be like an area in the woods where it's like its lair.
Yeah,
where it hangs out, and it's actually quite good. Whenever there's an urban legend that involves woods, like Blair Witch or something, it does add a bit more atmosphere to it, because the woods can be fucking creepy sometimes.
Yeah, well, because people talk about, like, one of the fairy tales guys, I think it's Hans Christian Andersen or something like that. A lot of his things happen in woods, and kind of woods, like, because they're like almost kind of quite psychedelic in a way, almost. I think I've heard.
It's like the last archaic city of unknown creatures. It's a city in itself.
There's a genuine belief that it actually does something to your mind when you're in like a wood or a forest. Because it's
and it can go quiet very quickly.
Yeah.
When you go into, like, I remember when I was in Ireland and I went into, like, there was like a sort of a walk that you do around this gorge.
Yeah.
And it's full of people, but you can easily go straight into one of the woods, and it goes deathly quiet. Even the water you can't hear for a while, and the wood is so thick, but really thin trees. So it's like, it looks like you're going on for miles and miles. Like, it is mesmerising, but it's kind of, like you said, psychedelic. But this devil, it also goes by the name the Leeds Devil. It's apparently this woman gave birth to it, and once she gave birth to it, it killed her, didn't it?
I think so. It didn't kind of fly off or something, and it tried to kill the nurse or something as well.
It killed her. I think it tried to kill the nurse. There's different variations of this story, as there would be. Yeah, and this was back in 1735. Isn't that when the colonialists and pilgrims were very religious? This kind of stuff was made to shock them into being more pious. As crazy as it sounds, back then it must have been a fucking frightful story. Because you imagine going back in those times, you could tell them any story and they believe it. That would be great,
I just see even the idea of like 13 children. I mean, God, that's quite frightening.
I was about to say, that in itself's a horror story.
That's what happens if you don't stop having bloody children.
No wonder this thing was able to get out.
Yeah. To be honest, the way I read it, it sounded like the mother was a bit pissed off when she found out she had to have a 13th child.
One of the legends is that when the labour was so long that she cursed the child, called it the devil or something, and that's one of the reasons it became what it is.
Yeah.
And apparently it wasn't seen for another 100 years until 1890. Another sighting.
Ooh, I haven't read about that one.
Yeah, and apparently it attacked a couple of people in broad daylight one time in the last century. And it's always had sightings, and I love that. If these people are telling the truth, and we're just treating them like whatever, I feel really bloody sorry for them. Because this thing attacks you in the middle of the day. Who is going to believe you?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like... Because one of the interesting people who did cite one, I'm not sure if you read about this, but it's the older brother of Napoleon.
Oh, what? Bonaparte?
Yeah, guy called Joseph Bonaparte. Because I actually learnt this on No Such Thing as a Fish. Not this, not the fact that I'm going to say, but a lot of the Bonapartes actually moved to New York, or they moved to America. Wow. And so there was a generation of Bonapartes that lived in America. And
was that to escape to
escape France? And because a lot of people don't believe that there were so many of them in America at one point. Yeah. I still think there's some alive actually somewhere.
It probably is. I mean, it's quite a big family anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can safely say that you've seen a lot of people that you've seen are descendants of Attila.
Yeah, Attila the Hun.
I think it's Attila.
Yeah.
It's Attila I think it was Attila, because apparently he boned a lot, dude. He boned a lot. I think that was a full-time job in itself, really.
Boning people.
Yeah. Plus, wasn't he one of the reasons for the Black Plague spreading across Europe?
Yeah.
He was the first recorded version of chemical warfare, because he would notice some of his soldiers were sick. So he would fling their remains over city walls and and then when they were being besieged, they wouldn't let them in. So he'd do that, and then it wouldn't have to do anything else. He'd just watch them, slowly become detriment, and it's lovely.
That's a great story, that is.
It's horrible, but it works,
I don't we should point that out. I will celebrate it.
But that's Attila, man.
Yeah, but anyway, this Joseph Bonaparte, he claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting. And this is in 1820. And funnily enough, he actually died in 1840. Oh, I thought he died in 1820, but no, he said he didn't kill him. I thought he'd killed him.
Well, maybe you could say like it's a bit of family karma for Napoleon's sins.
Yeah, but
it had a visit from the devil.
Yeah. But it did, in 1840, it was blamed for killing some livestock.
Yeah, kind of like El Chupacabra in a way, I suppose. Because it hasn't really killed anyone, so it doesn't seem too threatening so far, but apparently it can be quite vicious.
Yeah. Well, a documentary I watched, and it's presented by William Shatner, of all people.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
I haven't, no.
But, I mean, just anything done by William Shatner's amazing. And, because this woman and her son, they live in like a kind of near the woods. Yeah. I think their house literally looks into kind of like the woods. And she was saying they'd gone out to turn the Christmas lights off or something, because it's around about that time of year. And then she looked at her son and he looked like really scared. And she looked around and she saw what he was looking at. And she describes this like weird horned looking thing with a bulbous head as well. Which, I'm not kind of sure what that kind of means exactly.
Well, I think one of the great things about urban legends is when you hear people's accounts of them.
Yeah.
For instance, when you hear that, you remember Blair Witch, when you see those people interviewed at the start, and so many of them are very sure of what they see. Yeah. And that guy talks about this woman with hair all over her body and her feet didn't touch the ground, and it just brings up some imagery, crazy imagery. Yeah. And it's so cool, but it's creepy as hell, because when you hear what they're saying and they're so vivid about it, and and you just imagine this is from what they saw, and it's almost like primary evidence in a way, almost. You know, it's still secondary, but whatever.
Yeah, but what was funny, watching this documentary, obviously they were trying to recreate what she thought the monster looked like. But it just looks like, you know, like the 1930s, like 40s horror films where they're doing like Wolfman or something like that. Where it looks really like terrible. Like it doesn't look like a Wolfman at all. Hard. Oh, it's just like a man with an extra long beard or something. And basically it kind of looked a bit like that but with horns, and like I think they were trying to go like with the bulbous head. They were trying to show this like really kind of like misshapen head.
Sorry about that. That was my phone. Yeah. But I love practical effects, even if they are a bit crap. Anyway, you know, even if it's a William Shatner documentary about the niche devil. Yeah. But. Yeah, well, the thing about the Jodie Devil, it's embedded in New Jersey legends, and there's a great site you can actually, magazine you can look up, Weird New Jersey. It deals with all these interesting concepts around New Jersey. There's a really great, fascinating one called The Gates of Hell, which exists in New Jersey. Basically, it's like an underground tunnel system. Really? That goes under the city. Yeah. And it's like, it looks like sewers, basically, but they just keep going on, and no one's really explored them. I think they're unused. Yeah. But then you go in quite deep and you see evidence of like Satan worship and cults and stuff inside. Really? And sometimes people can hear screams from deep in the labyrinth, and it's kind of just a weird looking thing. I mean, that is creepy because it's almost too embedded in reality. There's evidence of actual craziness in there, you know. Well,
when you think about it, like a sewer is a perfect place to commit a murder or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so far away from, and it's like one of those. Yeah, exactly. It's so far away from civilization.
And if hardly anyone goes down there either, your chances of being discovered are pretty low. But exactly. I mean, that's not because like I think it's at Paris. Their sewers matches like these streets and stuff like that, and I think London's got under like the sewers as well, hasn't it?
You know, it's got like not as detailed as the catacombs, which I'm surprised they don't actually have a record of everything down there. You could still actually go into unknown areas in the catacombs, which is really creepy. Yeah. But there's a couple of cities that have, like London, I think it's more controlled. It has like the unknown stations and I think a couple of sewer systems. There's one in, I think it's either France or there's a one. Not legend, it actually happened. There's a girl who was trying to escape Nazis in some, I think it was either a city, some European city, and I think it might be Prague actually. And she went into these catacombs underground, but they're like a labyrinth that are unused, and no one remembers how they work because this is old world stuff. So she ran in, tried to escape the Nazis. Obviously, she did, but because it was, dark and she didn't have recording to the labyrinth, she lost her way and couldn't find her way out again.
Yeah.
And I think apparently no one saw her again after she went in.
Ooh.
There's even a videotape that was found in the Paris catacombs of this guy who I think he'd gotten lost in the catacombs, and he's just walking around for ages in the catacombs because he's obviously lost.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, he starts running and looking back as if something's chasing him.
Yeah.
And this goes on for about 2 or so minutes before the camera is dropped, and he just keeps on running. And the camera's just recording the floor, and that is so creepy.
Ooh.
When you see it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what the new, the Gates of Hell in New Jersey would be like. Like, there's just unrecorded tunnels, and no one's going to want to, no one's going to, in a high division, is going to spend the money to get a research division to go and have a look. That'll cost money, just to see how far it goes,
Yeah.
So they'll leave it to the locals to just treat it like an urban legend.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone rich enough that would do it, though.
Yeah.
I think they're missing out there.
That's what I would do if I had lots of money.
Yeah.
If I was rich and stuff, I would just explore. I would go and do an investigation of Loch Ness. I would enjoy doing all this stuff. Like, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what to do like this sewers myself. I know I'd
not by myself.
I'd get someone else to do that.
I'd hire a couple of mercenaries, of course.
I'm not being boned in a kind of a sewer by Attila.
Yeah. I'm dying Attila.
Yeah.
Somewhere in New Jersey's Gates of Hell.
Yeah.
He's waiting for the first victim still.
Yeah, there's a film called Gates of Hell, I think, but I think it's Japanese, so I don't think it's about the New York sewers.
But I love anything to do with that sort of stuff, so I might look that up, actually.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, there's one more thing about this documentary that I was watching about the New Jersey Devil. Yeah, this woman claimed that it kind of ran at them or flew at them because it's got wings, hasn't it? I think, and apparently they managed to get inside the house before it kind of got to them, but it did manage to climb up on their roof.
Lovely. That's
and then the next morning they went to look at the roof, and because it was all snowy, they had footprints, so they took photos of footprints, and they did actually show actual footprints, the actual photos of the footprints.
These actually exist, though?
Yeah, these actually exist. The photos of the footprints. Shit. And she took this photo to show to these two animal experts in the area where she lived, and apparently this older guy just said she was trying to work out whether it was a bear or something else. What did they say? It sounded like a huckabee or something, but I don't even know if that's an animal.
So a huckabee? What is a huckabee?
I'm not sure I got that right. It sounds like that, though. Yeah. But this older guy, he just said it's none of those things. It's the New Jersey Devil in a menacing voice. And my first thought was, he's probably just taking the piss out of you.
Yeah. To be fair, I wondered to myself, if this happened in an area where there wasn't this legend, would they still come up with the same? Someone thinks cow, they scream cow, or something. Would it still be the same description? Or I wonder. Yeah. Because some people will believe they saw something that they really want to believe they saw.
Yeah, I mean, if you're that scared, because they said they were quite scared, I mean, you obviously got a good enough look at it to kind of say what it describe it. I mean, considering it's a dark wood, I mean, you could easily mistake it for anything.
And the fact that it happened around the wood as well, I mean, that's any sort of animal in the wood, it's still, a scary attack for them anyway.
Yeah. So, but I just, if you're that scared, I think you kind of instantly run away. You don't just kind of stop and have a good look at it. But,
unless it's one of those fanatics that wants to make everyone believe, a fan of the Jersey Devil that wants to make everyone believe, so they dress up as the devil and do the whole roof thing, just trying to make people believe. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess that's the Jersey Devil for you. I mean, what's your take on it anyway? Would you believe in it?
No. Because there's another sighting of it, apparently. I wanted to bring up quickly, because it was my favourite thing is, it's like these paranormal people. Yeah. They've always got a camera with them. They always start off saying this sentence, I didn't I didn't go out looking or expecting to find a ghost. Even though you're a paranormal, hunter or whatever they're called.
Like you're just filming.
Sure you didn't.
It's just your day off, wasn't it?
This guy, he just happened to have his camera with him, and he just happened to take a photo of this thing flying in the air that he thought was a llama. And, flying llama, obviously.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But to me, it just looked like a dog that someone had put wings on. So they might have just thrown him up in the air for all I know. But yeah, it's kind of like a load of experts debunked the photo, saying it wasn't real. Saying it's like some kind
Imagine a dog with wings being thrown up for a second, just to get a great snap of him as well. Now,
yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. So I'm just like, I'm not convinced that it exists.
I'm not convinced, but I really wish I was. Because it's such a weird legend. And, all the if you type in Jersey Devil on Google, you'll get that picture that you were talking about. So it looks like a goat or a dog that's just been thrown in the air with some fake wings, and it looks like it's getting shit out of its mind.
I know.
So believe it or not, Jersey Devil. It's hard to believe these things when there's so little evidence, or. It's just, it's always, you can't take pictures of the actual devil, but you can take pictures of the aftermath. But that thing you said about the guy with the roof, did that happen in 2012, did you say?
I don't know when it was. Because it was just on a documentary I was watching. So, yeah, I'm not too sure about the actual date.
I wonder. But at the end of the day, I like this urban legend, real or not real.
Yeah.
It's so outlandish, and it's so quintessentially American in a way, it's like the land of extremes. There you go. You got your horsey, batty chicken devil.
It does look cool. I've got to admit, it does kind of look. It does look like an intro. It kind of looks to me a bit like a dinosaur. Actually,
a little bit, yeah.
So it feels like it. If it does, it's just a leftover dinosaur or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there are some explanations for where the legend comes from.
Oh.
And I think you were talking earlier about this. It's the time when the colonialists were kind of about, and there's an idea that it started off from English people telling kind of ghost stories to each other and stuff like that, and so it comes from that kind of tradition.
No.
And this kind of came like a bogeyman kind of figure for a lot of people, and it seems like it's just got passed down. From generations, but I was reading one interesting thing, and it's some person believes it's a kind of political thing.
Yeah.
And it's this English guy came over who was a Quaker, and he was trying to get involved in politics, and obviously, but some of his ideas I think were quite controversial at the time, and so people who didn't like him started coming up with this kind of bit of a myth about him that he was this Jersey Devil or something like that. Nothing to do with an actual animal or anything like that.
Yeah.
He was just called the Jersey Devil, and he was called Robert Leeds, and that's where the Mother Leeds things come from.
I've seen that name used a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. But, what they say the original story is that it's not Mother Leeds, it was actually this guy called Robert Leeds, and it was just a way of, trying to ostracise him or something like that.
Yeah.
And try and just discredit him. So, yeah, which I kind of find interesting.
That is, actually.
You could see how it works, perhaps. And then it's just, devolved into this, Mother Leeds character giving birth to this, devil.
Nice.
Which I just find that funny. My sister's pregnant at the moment, so it's just kind of, if she gives birth to a devil, that's just kind of...
It sounds like, when you say it like that, you can just imagine, the Steptoe and Son theme song playing in the background as these events fold out, oh, bloody hell. 13th child, no wonder.
Oh, there's got to be some horror film about that.
There must be.
13th child turning out to be the devil.
I'm sure that it's existed in some sort of media. I think it existed in some computer games a few times, but... it's one of those things that's just been accepted along with Nessie now. And, not much else I can say about that, but I'm just glad it exists out there, Anyway, I think we'll wrap this one up.
Was that the Jersey Devil in the background?
that's a type of devil, yeah. That's my cat who's come to visit me now I'm out of prison.
Yeah, you should keep that in there.
Yeah. What was that?
It was amazing.
Oh, shit, son.
Yeah.
We've been talking shit about this thing. Now it's coming for us.
Yeah. For the next podcast we do, we should just talk about that.
Yeah, what happened to us after we talk shit.
Our encounter with the Jersey Devil.
Oh, man. Anyway, man, in the end, lovely urban legend. I think the real scary thing is everything around it, like the gates of hell. I would suggest anyone listening look that up. Just type in on Google Jersey Devil layer. It'll probably be one of the first ones that comes up, called Weird NJ, the Gates of Hell. It's so freaky to look at, and I even have a couple of videos about it from a magazine in New Jersey. But
I'm going to look up this, because this Gates of Hell.
I tell you what, don't even look it up. I'll send you a link straight to the actual page itself.
Yeah, send me the link to that Paris one as well.
Oh yeah, I'll find that again as well. Yeah.
That's well, I'm not sure why I should make myself watch the creepy shit.
Hey, it's fun, man. It's fun to scare yourself.
If you say so. I did the worst thing that happened to me is I got scared during Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre?
Yeah. Do you know what it was?
Go on.
The bloody bird flapped. But we were watching it on my sister's TV's one of those flat screen things. And it came out really loud through the speakers. And I was eating apple crumble at the time. And it made me jump while I was trying to put a spoonful of apple crumble into my mouth.
That's such an English moment, Matt. Like, I was eating apple crumble and I was watching Jane Eyre and I got scared.
I know. And my sister saw it, and I tried to do one of those things where you try not to get noticed, but she noticed it, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna live that down.
Oh, perfect. I like that. That's a perfect way to end it, actually.
Yeah.
So if you're in for a scare, either go on NJ New Jersey or watch Jane Eyre with your favourite pastime treating. Either way, you're going to have a great time.
Tarvin would want me to mention one thing. We got a message on Facebook.
Yes, we did. Yes.
And from someone not insulting us.
Which is brilliant.
Interestingly. So we'd like to thank you for that message.
Thank you.
Will something, I think it was.
Bill Smith.
Thank
you very much for listening to our stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
You actually listened to quite a few of our episodes, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much, man. And some of the comments you left were really nice, so really appreciate that.
Yeah. And if anyone else listening, I'm not sure
make yourself known,
Yeah, you can message us at the Dorks Deduction something.
The Dorks Deduction. You can find us on Facebook. Type in the Dorks Deduction.
Yeah, we're on Twitter as well. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
We'll be everywhere.
We're everywhere and nowhere.
Literally.
Ironically, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and hope you guys enjoyed this little segment. And hope to hear from you guys, and hope to be back soon. So,
if you're not in Azerbaijan.
If I'm not in Azerbaijan, yes, Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
So that's a bye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Ta-ta.